Alright, welcome back. I can only do 15-minute videos and we were a little over time, so we had to split this up. So please watch the first video for the start of this problem. Alright, now that we've gotten to this point, we can multiply. We've got 10x plus 10y is equal to 14x. Now remember what our goal is? Our goal is to get the ratio of x to y. First of all, what we'll want to do is get all of our x's together. Let's subtract 10x from this side. If we do it to one side, we have to do it to both, and we'll get 10y is equal to 4x. All right, x is where we want it in the numerator. We don't want that 4. Let's divide by 4. 10 divided by 4 is the same thing as 5 over 2y is equal to x. We want the y in the denominator. How are we going to do that? Divide both sides by y. That disappears. There's our ratio. We got it of x to y, and it is equal to, let me rewrite it over here a little more neatly, 5 halves. One more. Cross multiply. 5 times the quantity x plus y is equal to 3x times 14. Let's distribute that 5 and we'll get 5x plus 5y. We'll multiply that out. 14 times 3 is equal to 42x. Remember what our goal is? The ratio of x to y, with x in the numerator, y in the denominator. Let's start by getting our x's together. 5x minus 5x gives us 0x on the left. We're left with 5y on the left. 42 minus 5x gives us 37x. Alright, x is in the numerator. We don't want that 37 over there, so let's divide both sides by 37. 5 over 37y is equal to x, but we want the ratio of x to y. Let's divide both sides by y. That's the ratio we're looking for. Y divided by y is equal to 1. X over y is equal to 5 over 37. Or 5 37s. Alright, now for some word problems. The trick with solving word problems in proportions is to make sure you have the same item on the numerator in both ratios. So, in the USA team for the medals, 1 out of 17 athletes had a medal. There's a ratio, 1 to 17. So this is medals to people. Notice I'm just writing these as little letters here. Those aren't variables. It's just so that I can keep straight what I'm comparing to what. For my proportion, the entire team is 320 athletes. That's how many people. Maybe I should have used an A instead of a P. How many have medals? That's what we don't know. How many have medals? Alright, now we've got a proportion we can solve. 1 to 17 is equal to x over 320. And we can kind of x those out now so it doesn't confuse us if you want. Alright, cross multiply and we get 17x is equal to 320. Divide both sides by 17 and we get x is equal to 18.82. That's what I get on my handy dandy calculator because I didn't want to divide 320 by 17 in my head. So prediction, they would probably have between 18 and 19 athletes medal out of the entire team. Alright, these are kind of tricky when you first see them, but don't panic, okay? You can solve this using proportions. I did it. It was kind of messy, but it works. But your lesson material shows you a really easy way to think about this and solve them. So we know that the ratio is 3 to 8. Now remember, we've always been simplifying our fractions, but 3 to 8 is the same thing as 6 to 16, isn't it? And 3 to 8 is the same thing as 9 to 24. Our numbers are going to be the same times this ratio. So if you think about it, we could have 3 times whatever base number there is, plus 8 times whatever base number there is, and that will make 66. We're solving for this multiplication factor and not the ratio. Our multiplication factor here was 2. 3 times 2 equals 6, 8 times 2 equals 16. Our multiplication factor here was 3. 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 8 is 24. By setting it up and thinking about it this way, what we're going to solve for is the multiplication factor. How many multiples of 3/8 will it take to get to 66? So let's try it. 3x plus 8x equals 11x. I want to isolate x. So x is equal to 6. Now that's not our answer. One of the numbers does not necessarily equal 6. Remember, this is the multiplication factor. Our ratio of 3 to 8 needs to get multiplied 6 times to be able to equal 66. So our first number was really 3 times x. Now we know what x is. It is 6. Our first number is 18. Our second number was 8 times that multiplication factor of x, but we know what x is now. It's 6. 8 times 6 is 48. Our numbers are 18 and 48. A little tricky to think about, so let's do a couple more of these. Okay? If we have a rectangle, here's my rectangle, and the length to width ratio is 3 to 1. So going back to that, it could be 3 to 1. It could be 6 to 2. It could be 9 to 3. Remember, all those lengths, the length could be 9 and 3. The length 9 and the width 3. It could be that the length is 6 and the width is 2. All of those lengths have a ratio of 3 to 1. But we're given that the perimeter is 120. So, remember what perimeter is? Length plus width plus length plus width. Now, we've got to put in our ratio of 3 to 1. 3 plus 1x plus a length that is 3 times the width plus a width that is only 1. And all of that added together equals 120. We're looking for that multiplication factor. Now if we add them all up together, 6, 7, 8, we get 8x is equal to 120. Divide both sides by 8, and we get x is equal to, is it 15? I'm doing it in my head instead of, 15. Our multiplication factor is 15. Well, that's awesome because we know 1 is 15 because it's 1. That makes this this length then 45 because it's 3 times that multiplication factor. All right, you guys should be practiced at this now. 11x plus 12x is equal to 207. 11 plus 12 is 23x. Divide both sides by 23 and we get x is equal to 9. So plug it back in. One of our numbers is 11 times 9, or 99. One of our numbers is 12 times 9. Oops, let me write it in there. Or 108. Our two numbers are 99 and 108. Now, you will have one tricky one. I think there's only one quiz question like this, but it does come up where you're not given a whole number. You're given a decimal. Your ratio of two numbers is 1.75, and you might be thinking 1.75 to what? If there's not anything specified, assume that it is a 1. So your ratio is 1.75 to 1. All right, so we have some relationship of 1.75x and 1x. But notice here we have a difference. We're not summing. So 1.75x minus x is equal to 12. Now we can solve. 1.75x minus an x gives us 0.75x. Divide both sides by 0.75. 12 divided by 0.75 is equal to 16. And since one of our numbers is just plain x, or that multiplication factor, we know one of our numbers is 16. To find out our other number, we take 1.75 times that by 16, and we get 28. Our two numbers are 16 and 28. Again, I did these fast because when there aren't people making comments or asking questions, I don't really have a reason to stop. But you can stop the recording anytime you want by just hitting the pause button, then rewind if you need to hear it again. All right, that's our lesson material for the upcoming week on ratios and proportions. I will be back in the office on Wednesday. So if you have any questions, send me K-mails, or you can stop by the office on Wednesday morning.